Oh, look, that is actually a core focus that we have in relation to the whole mantra. People say, well, we're sick of hearing about jobs and growth. Well, we're not sick of talking about it because we actually think that jobs and growth is actually what's going to drive this Australian economy forward and going to ensure that we have jobs for people in the future. One of the things that we focused on, obviously, coming into the last election was our decision to abolish the carbon tax. The reason being because the people who are most heavily penalised were the ones who had least disposable income to spend on things like, for example, electricity. That's the reason why we took that decision to remove it. We kept the carbon tax compensation in place to try to make it easier for them. But fundamentally what it comes down to is whether or not you can make sure that you are providing the incentives to those that take risk, that create employment, that invest their money to try to create wealth so that they in turn can provide employment opportunities for others. If it was as simple as just saying, well, you know, instead of getting a bulldozer to dig a hole, we're going to get 1,000 people out there with teaspoons, then that would be the solution. But it's not that simple. You actually need the economy to work, you need the growth, and that's why it's absolutely crucial that there's an economic plan for this country. Because at the moment, the rest of the world is struggling with a lot of economic headwinds, but Australia, with 3% growth, has the highest rate of growth out of any G7 country, and 3 times the rate of job creation, which provides a better future for those who are looking for work.
Nick Xenophon.
I'm sitting next to the Trade Minister and he's a decent bloke, but I think that what we're doing to sign up on the TPP will be a big mistake. If we're interested in about our national sovereignty in terms of jobs, then we should have a Buy Australian First policy when it comes to the $59 billion a year that the Commonwealth spends on procurement. Why should we be exporting jobs overseas to the extent that we are? The government's own analysis says that in terms of the China, the Japan and Korea free trade agreements, that exports to those countries will go up 0.5%.
Nick, I'm going to get you to address the question specifically, because that was really a question about the growing divide in Australia, as that person sees it between haves and have-nots.
Absolutely, and there's a growing divide because we have policies in place that I think will weaken our economy, that we should be spending government monies on local procurement, on local jobs. And in terms of the growing divide, the fact that there are pensioners in this country that can't afford heating, that there are families who just simply cannot get by on week to week indicates a gross failure of our policy. And one of the things we need to do is to get away from this free trade mantra that I think is actually making our economy weaker, not stronger.
You think less trade is better?
Well, if you look at your own figures, if you look at your own figures, our foreign debt, no, not protectionist walls, our foreign debt is approaching $1 trillion. Which is extraordinary.
Well,
last year was 74 billion. I saw the Labor Party's fault. Well, last year was $74 billion.
Okay, I'm not going to let this sidebar argument interrupt the